So I was just writing to a woman who's supposed to be setting up a support team for me so that I have somebody. And I was just having to think about how I am 12 years older than I am supposed to be. This was documented federally when my check was issued in 1999. It was determined by Congress at that point that they were satisfied with the explanations of who I was, and that it was unknown. Should I have more detail about it, I could discuss it, but that I was officially a U.S. citizen. It was strongly presumed that I was born in the United States, and that if I had better understanding of what had happened, that my identity had been so drastically changed that I did not have to stick to the official story. So, but that the state of Indiana was going to be resistant to this, that they had tried to get, that the state of Indiana had refused to cooperate, and as a result. Anyway, this had caused some problems for my guru because our relationship followed a natural curve, a natural development. Even though I had reproduced as a lab rat as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, it was a non-sexual experience that was designed to methylate me you got to understand the chaotic world in which we were living. I mean, when you think about the situation in which I was conceived in the first place, and that the woman who saved my life just died in the past week. And she didn't save my life because she was like, oh, that's a baby, let's save it. She saved my life because I had polydactyly and other anomalies. And she thought that it would be a waste to put me in formaldehyde because there were probably neurological differences that she wanted to explore. But there's always merit in extending someone's life. So if somebody can find in themselves the interest to fish a child out of the river, then there is benefit in that. It is limited, and it is not absolute. And I kind of wonder if she maybe she lived to be 91. Maybe she could have lived to be 99. I don't know. Maybe she was stretching it that far. I don't know. I don't know if she completed her natural cycle or if she didn't. But I just know that whatever her issues were, she thought about saving my life. Ever since then, I've been called Gail's Folly, but which might have to do with how I ended up becoming Holly. I think that's part of it. My guru likes to rhyme things. And Polly was considered too archaic at that time, even in the 1960s. Anyway, so I have to come out and I have to say that I am 64. I'm not 52. And that from 1977 onward, I was legal age in Indiana, and Indiana has, at 16 you can get married without parental consent, but it's a parental consent state, so that at that time there was no lower limit to parental or guardian consent. So that there was no illegal relationship between me and my guru. There was virtually no physical relationship between me and my guru. I mean, we clasped hands and butted heads, right? And but people's attachment to ideas about some of these comparative rights and wrongs, their refusal to consider some of the things. I was removed from circumstances in which my guru had more direct control over me, and placed in circumstances in which he had to negotiate with criminals in order to continue our relationship by the state of Indiana, not directly but indirectly by the people that they used, and that they just didn't like to keep proper paperwork on things. You know, it's like my landlady said I had a lease extension, but it wasn't on my physical lease. And if anything came to my physical lease, then I really didn't have a right to have the garden. So when she came over here loaded for bear the other day, I decided to tear out the garden. Because these agreements and stuff like that are pretty one-sided in their benefit. But I was thinking about Viking Guru video, the Westerner who had all those pictures of himself with the bomb pose that came out in the daytime. See, because I was getting, I think it was 77 when I was initiated into Bond, into the clear light initiation, the double mirror initiation. And it was late enough in the year that I was definitely over 16. And prior to that, I had met with my guru, but I had been brought to him under auspices of the schools or governments overseas, or the government here in America, in Indiana, major business leaders. And so, he was a very manipulative person. He wanted things his way. He wanted to take control of circumstances. A lot of people had interest in doing things that he didn't allow happen. When Tenzin Wangyal took over instead of the other Tenzin, that was my guru's doing. And I was thinking about, see, I've met with all of these people as well, and more that don't get pictures taken. But imagine this guy in all of these pictures with all of these men. Now imagine he was a woman, and the pictures are identical, but he's a woman. It's a completely different story, isn't it? It's a completely different story. So there's no pictures of me with these people, except for one picture of me sitting on my guru's lap in a child's outfit. But I'm dressed like a child widow.